how does a parent look at those the goals and sort of gauge if they're good or bad for their child, right? Are there red flags? What should they look for?
You really want something specific. I sat in an IEP recently for a preschooler, and they literally had a goal written that said the child would improve their self-help skills. That was the goal. And I was like, well, does that mean in a year, the teacher will have worked with the child on buttoning and zipping and hand washing and potty training and wiping and opening their own lunchbox and you could see the teacher going, because that is a lot of things to track. And they're like, no. And I said, well, then let's be more specific. What exactly are we going to work on? Now, the idea is the child's going to work on more than just that. Obviously, they're not going to let the kid just sit there and do nothing, hopefully, once the goal is met, but you do have to be specific. So you can, determine if the program is working, if it's not working, if you need changes. And the one thing I wanted to add is like a big thing to remember about goals is they're for an entire year. Okay. So if you write a goal in February of 22, that goal is what is expected or we hope to have happened by February of 23. Now you can always call an IEP and change the goals anytime, but when we're writing them, we're looking at that year. So if you have a kindergartner that knows 5 of our letters, right, an annual goal of knowing 10 letters might not be ambitious enough. Okay, maybe it is for your kid, but for a kid who already knows 5 letters, saying we're going to learn 5 more in a year, we need to presume competence. And it doesn't feel like that would be an ambitious goal for most kids.
And I also did want to clarify sort of the opposite, where if a child doesn't meet their goals, is it okay to repeat the same goals the following year in that IEP? To say they didn't meet it, we're going to have it be exactly the same.
I don't want to say never say, I don't want to say never, ever under any circumstances, right? But no, I mean, never. Like you want to, if it's a goal that you need to keep for whatever reason, let's say we're working on potty learning or, and we want to keep that because we're not going to give up on potty learning. Okay. Then maybe you need to break it down into different component parts, or maybe you need to add services. So for example, why was the goal not met? Was it because the way the goal was written, we expected the child to do every step independently, which is when you're talking about something like potty learning. And I use this a lot because everybody here knows how to go to the bathroom, right? So that's why I use this as an example. But when you're teaching a child to go to the bathroom, you've got to know you have to go. You got to go in the bathroom. You have to undo your pants. You have to sit. You have to do your business. You have to wipe. You have to flush, you have to pull your pants up, you have to wash your hands. There's a lot
to fasten those pants.
Fasten. Yeah. There is a lot of steps. I would look at what steps going sideways, what's not working. Oh, they can't fasten their pants. Then maybe we need to put an OT on the goal, right? Maybe we need OT supporting that goal in addition to just the teacher. But generally, you don't want to repeat the goals. I just want to make an example of when you might. Like most parents are going to like, oh, we didn't meet it, we're not going to potty train. No, that's kind of a goal we might keep. But if you didn't meet the goal, I would find out why, but I would also look at a different goal. Working on the same thing over and over isn't usually going to be effective, with a few exceptions. But find out why. Because when the goal was written, the team thought it was attainable. Did we not put enough support on the goal? Maybe we needed more time. If it was a speaking goal or an articulation goal, maybe we need more speech therapy. Maybe we need a new speech assessment. Maybe something changed. So try to figure out the why.